My name is Dr. Kenneth Robinson. I'm Chief of Emergency Medicine at Hartford Hospital. I'd first like to say again that our thoughts and prayers are with the patients and the families of all of those that suffered in this horrible accident yesterday. I know you want some updates. We received 6 patients yesterday at Hartford Hospital. There is 1 patient remaining in the hospital at this time. I'm not prepared to talk about their injuries, so I'll just save you that question. Just a reminder that we'd also like to recognize everyone on scene at the airport, the fire, the police, the ambulances. The more I hear about what happened up there, they did a perfect job of getting the patients and the victims to the appropriate place as soon as possible, and it was really a job well done. And just one thing about, this is why we're a level 1 trauma center, that we can flex up on a horrible day like yesterday and bring every single necessary resource to the patients that need it in a few minutes' notice. And then in an hour or two, once these patients have been taken care of and are out of the department, we're back to business as usual, taking care of the patients in our community and our neighborhoods. I would like to introduce the nurse manager for the emergency department at Hartford Hospital, Tori Trzynski.
Thank you. And again, I agree with Ken's sentiments. We want to thank everybody who was on the scene and took care of the patients before they got to us. This is why we work in a level 1 trauma center. This is what we do every day. It's about the patients. It's about making sure that we provide the best care that we possibly can for them. We're ready at a moment's notice. We practice this constantly, so when we get the call, like we did yesterday, to let us know that a plane had gone down at the airport, we all pulled together and everybody knew what their roles and responsibilities were from the moment the call came in. We did a department-wide huddle. We brought every nurse and doctor, registration, radiology, phlebotomy, environmental services, and transport together into one room to let them know what we knew, what was coming, and what we needed to be prepared for. And then we gave them their roles and responsibilities, and they went out and executed it perfectly. And at the end of the day, when everything was said and done, the greatest compliment that we got was from the rest of the patients in the department, because it was a very busy day yesterday, was that they hardly knew that anything was going on except for the news coverage that they were seeing in their rooms. Because when we do it right, the patients shouldn't even know how hard we're working and what it is that we're doing for them. So it was a massive team effort, and we're grateful not only for those in the emergency department, but the rest of the organization, the incident command center, and everyone else that was helping us out yesterday so that we could provide the care to the patients, because that's what we do best. I'm going to introduce Colleen Mulcairn. She's the director of social work, to say about the spiritual care that was provided.
Good morning. I too want to thank all the first responders and all the folks that took care of our patients. One of the things that we do at Hartford Healthcare is really try to look at whole person care. And during a time like this, what we're really looking at is the opportunity to really connect families and loved ones. It's a scary time in the middle of an incident where we have a lot of unknowns. So we have a team of really talented social workers and chaplains that are here to be a resource, to hold all those unknowns, to be providers of practical things, instrumental support, things like a quiet corner to make a phone call, a chair, a Kleenex box, a glass of water, emotional support to really be a resource to people, because in times of loss and crisis, what we know is that past losses really get brought up. So family structures are different, so there's a lot of blended families, different family structures, people that have had past griefs and losses, and all of that comes up at a time of this kind of trauma and loss in magnitude. So we're there to support, walk with people during the unknown period, try to get questions answered, be a resource for counseling, anticipatory grief, bereavement, all of the support that people need. The other thing that we do as a hospital is really take care of each other. We have a whole team of people that are really impacted by these things. First and foremost, it's our families that are impacted and their primary losses, and the patients that we're experiencing all of this, but we suffer a little bit too. And so one of the things that we do as a team is to take care of each other, to check in, to have debriefing sessions and make sure everybody's okay, because a lot of thoughts and feelings come up in this work. And so we really have to attend to each other as much as anything else. So we really feel very privileged and honored to do this work, and we really appreciate this opportunity to be there at a time of people's most difficult days.
Dr. Robinson, you said yesterday that 2 people were taken to the burn center in Bridgeport. Does that mean that the other 3 were released, or were they transferred to a different hospital?
I believe they were released.
And the person that remains, what condition is that person?
We can't say.
You can't even say the condition?
No.
Tori, can you talk about what it was like yesterday? Did all the patients arrive at the same time? Was it, kind of describe what it looked like here when this first started?
Sure. So when we first got the information, it was coming from our trauma team. There had been word that had been come to us from the airport itself to say, hey, just a heads up. So we went into our security office where we have a bunch of cameras so that we could see what was going on. CMed Radio, which is the dispatch for this area of Connecticut, called to tell us that there was an incident on the ground at the airport, that at that point they knew that we could anticipate 10 patients. So as a team, Dr. Charles Jandro, myself, Dr. Gates from trauma came together along with nursing leadership and said, okay, what do we need to do and how do we mobilize this? And then we activated the incident command from there. When the patients started to come, we did get patches pretty quickly, probably one every minute or two for about 10 minutes of them coming through with updates and stuff, and went with that so that we could prepare. We had trauma room, all 6 of our trauma rooms were ready to go with a full trauma team standing outside at the ready for whatever we would get. And then we communicated back and forth within the department to let everybody know what patient was coming, where we expected to care for them, what members of the team would be needed for them. But they were coming in pretty quickly, but our relationship and how things work with EMS, where they were able to give us enough notice that we could move our teams to where they needed to be to meet the patients when they got there.
Yesterday, the hospital put out a number out to the public to connect victims with their families. Have all of the victims been connected to their families and loved ones?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That number is not necessary, but the Connecticut State Police number that was given to you, that 685 number, that's what you should be using from this moment forward.
How would you describe yesterday in comparison to a normal day's work around here?
Honestly, yesterday for us is what we do. That's why we do this business. We were ready. We're ready at all times. It was a busy day. We started out with patients that we needed to mobilize, but we went into this business for this exact moment. I knew from the day I became a nurse that this is what I wanted to do, and we were ready. And it's not uncommon for us to get, not necessarily all from the same incident, but to get multiple patients at the same time because of the area of Connecticut that we support. We support such a large area, so scenes in Simsbury and East Hampton and Colchester can all come to us at the same time, and we orchestrate it and coordinate it pretty much on a daily basis.
And the 3 patients who have been released, do you know about when they were discharged each?
Yeah, that would be too, we can't say that. Within the day yesterday in the afternoon.
They were all released by yesterday afternoon?
Or
3 of them?
evening.
Okay.
Evening.
What was that answer?
By yesterday evening, they've been released.
So to clarify, 3 here released, and then 2 from the burn center, Bridgeport released. That makes 5, and then 1 remains here. Okay.
And the 2 from the burn unit in Bridgeport have also been released?
You have to connect it to Bridgeport.
So you talked about the debriefing sessions. Like, how is everyone doing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that these situations really can, as I mentioned, not only bring up past traumas and hurts for our families, it does for people that are healthcare workers as well. And so we do attend to those feelings. And I think that people are doing well today and felt like things went well yesterday, but there's a certain amount of heaviness holding all of the sorrows of those families. We're talking about that phone line, supporting those phone line, those frantic calls. That does take a toll on the team. So we really want to be here to support each other and make sure that everybody's doing well. So we have a whole process for wellness and for staff support and processing, and we work really hard on that.
You talked about frantic calls. Did when we put that number out, did everyone start calling? Or
Yes,
just
we had a
ignoring it?
huge volume of calls. Your communications, everybody's communications worked well, so there was a big volume of scared folks that needed to check in.